For thousands of years, we've been under the impression the Bible was meant to be taken seriously. Finally, a new translation that'll change all that. This is Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible! Yeah! Woo! Welcome to episode 35 of Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible with me, David Tuckman. I'm coming to you in front of a live audience at QED Astoria in Queens, my home borough. Yes! Oh my God, there's water here. I'm so glad to be doing this show in Queens. I've been bouncing all over the place, but this is the first time I'm doing it in the borough where I grew up. My parents could be here if they weren't so embarrassed of this show. Each month on the show, a guest joins me and tries to read as many chapters as possible of my own personal translation of the Hebrew Bible while I make fun of it. And tonight we're reading the second portion of Leviticus, known in Hebrew as Tzav, and in English as, well, you'll see. I feel like the episode numbers are starting to get a little unwieldy. I know podcasts like to just use straight numbers, but we're season 3, episode 2. That's where we are right now. I think I might move to that. That's the thing that's going on. Also, if you're a podcast listener, you may notice that we're now doing the entire parsha, the entire episode in one episode of the podcast. That's because it was getting tired of doing it the other way. Anyway, today is January 30th, 2016, and we are starting Leviticus in Queens. Next show, February 8th in Philadelphia at the Raven Lounge. That is at, let's say, 7:30 p.m. And then again, March 29th at QED with Mark Oppenheimer, a writer for religion in the New York Times. He hosts a podcast for Tablet called Unorthodox about the news of the Jews. That's happening right here in this room at 9 p.m. So if you don't make it to this one, or if you're not here right now and you're listening and you live in Queens or you live in New York, come out. Anyway, you guys ready to meet your guest? That's what I thought. She's a really funny lady. When I put out, I guess, an APB for Jewish comedians, this was one of the names that just kept coming at me. I'm really excited to have her on the show to talk about this, I guess, good book. Give it up for Rachel Coleman. There you are.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome. How are you?
I am great. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
I love being known as a Jewish comedian. It's
a
very
Jewish
exciting
comedian, finally.
One of my friends a couple weeks ago, he's like, I don't know him that well, and he sent me a Facebook message asking for advice on where to buy knishes. And I was like, yeah, I got it.
That's how you know you made it.
Yeah,
Where do you buy knishes, though?
Oh, I just told him, sorry.
This is for my own personal...
I know. Actually, I just told him what kind to buy. I'm sorry. That was a misnomer. I told him that I just like traditional potato. That's how I feel.
Mustard? No mustard?
Oh, mustard. Definitely mustard.
Okay, good. So you are a Jewish comedian. Let's talk about that. What's your Jewish background, I suppose? Well, first of all, where do you live in Queens too?
I live in Ridgewood, Queens.
Oh my God.
So like the Brooklyn of Queens, you know? No, I live in Ridgewood, Queens. I grew up in, I was born in Manhattan. I grew up in Westchester, so very Jewy.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up Reform.
Okay.
I loved my temple that I went to growing up. My rabbi was like one of the first rabbis to perform same-sex marriages, so it was pretty cool, yeah?
That's good.
It's a good impression on a young kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what do you identify as Jewish now? Do you practice in some way?
Yes, I love going to temple. Actually, I wish I went more often, but I go. You know,
well, you're doing this. That's
yeah, exactly. You know, I'm doing comedy. What's more Jewish than that? Yeah. So it's just I do consider myself a practicing Jew, and I wish I practiced harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Harder?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I want to get all
like,
up in
God
it,
damn it!
you know?
I'm gonna light this menorah.
Yeah, exactly. I lit my menorah at like 3 a.m. drunk several times this Hanukkah.
That's
so,
pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty hardcore Jewing. So you would call yourself, I guess, Jewish now, I suppose. Have you ever? Did you go to Jewish schools growing up?
No.
Okay.
But I loved Hebrew school, which is weird. That's
Okay.
for weird kids to love. And I kept going after my bat mitzvah, which not many other people did.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. And even weirder, I used to like spend my weekends coming down to the city to go to Torah study at Hebrew Union College.
How old were you?
That was in high school. It was like
Okay.
the honors thing. And I went to the one in Cincinnati a few times for like ultra. You know, they have like the Dead Sea Scrolls there. So that's like, you know, that was for the
Was
really
that the
nerdy.
Rockefeller I don't know.
That's for the really, really nerdy kids. The really
Yes.
nerdy Jews.
The
went to
stuff that
yeah.
didn't make the cut into the Torah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
And I did that all of my, like my parents didn't, that was totally me. It wasn't my parents at all telling me to go.
Cool. So this stuff is right up your alley.
Oh,
So
I love it, yeah.
My next question that I would ask you, and I ask all my guests this, I guess, have you ever read the entire Bible? So the Torah is the first 5 books, and then there's all the other stuff, and then there's the fake Bible that the Christians have. Have you ever read the whole thing, though?
I have not.
Okay. But so why not?
I know. I was thinking about that on the way here. I feel like I should, but then you get to stuff like Leviticus, and you're like, oh my god.
It's kind of weird. I mean, part of why I started doing this is because I got as far as like the 3rd chapter, and I was like, oh, these translations suck. I'm not doing this anymore. But Leviticus is really, it's kind of a downer. Like, there's nothing happens.
There's a lot of oils.
There's a
and
lot
stuff.
of oils.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood. There are a lot of liquids in Leviticus.
Oh,
of all, like, coming from all sorts of places, as we will find out. Not this week, but eventually. But of what you've read, what is your favorite story?
Is the Book of Esther part of the Bible?
Absolutely.
I love the Book of Esther. I think it's awesome.
That's a great story, I think. Do you have a favorite character in that?
I mean, I love them. Okay, I love Esther, of course, but I just really like how, like, we learn about it in Hebrew school as, like, oh, like, the king had a party. And as adults, you're like, oh, no, that was, like, a week-long orgy.
Yes.
You know, like the way that it's so, the whole thing is, like, so kind of gross and seedy, but they teach it to you as, like, this fun little story, you know?
Purim, I mean, the whole thing that Purim, the Jewish holiday that comes out in kind of the spring, is such an amazing, like, secret holiday that nobody knows about. Like, you dress up and get super trashed, and that you're commanded to get trashed. Like, it's amazing.
I know. That's like what I tell people when I'm like, you know, there's a lot of atheists that like to talk shit on me because I like my religion, and that's like always an example I give. I'm like, we have holidays where they tell us we have to get so drunk we can't recognize a guy's name.
Yeah,
you know? That's literally what they tell us.
There is so much drinking in Judaism that
Yeah.
I don't think people realize. Like, every Saturday you have to drink.
I mean, do you really walk around like South Williamsburg or something on a Saturday night? Everyone's just in the street trashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
We should like be having some Manischewitz right now.
Yes. Well, we got some beer here at QED. If you haven't, get some more already. What am I saying? I agree. You should buy beer here. Anyway, Jews love wine. There was something I was going to ask you. Yes. So how do you feel about the fact that you haven't read the whole Bible? Because I feel like it's interesting to me that it's an incredibly influential book in a lot of ways, and people seem to care about it a lot, but yet so many people don't actually know what's in it.
Yeah. I mean, I never really thought about it because I did spend so much time dissecting like certain portions and stuff that I never even thought about the fact that I hadn't read it until you asked me. And now I feel pretty shitty about it, so thanks.
Don't. I mean, but what I mean is that
I'm just kidding.
most people haven't. That's crazy.
Yeah.
If you haven't, listen to this podcast. It's great. So let me ask you another question. What is your belief of where you talked about, the Dead Sea Scrolls, like all those thousands-year-old scrolls that people found containing text from the Bibles, long existing pieces that contain elements of this. Where do you think the Bible came from?
Oh man, that's deep. That's
Yeah.
a deep. Did it? Man, I was not prepared for this. Okay.
Nobody ever is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've never really thought about it. It's just like a thing that has always I mean, I guess it was passed down
like Star
orally.
Wars,
Oh yeah, like Star Wars.
Something
yeah, exactly.
that's always existed.
Yeah, no, I probably was passed down orally, right, first before people wrote it down.
Yeah.
Right? That's probably what happened. That seems like a thing that happened in the past.
That's one of the beliefs or the thoughts or the theories. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because like it's a pretty long thing for people to sit and write, right? That's a major time commitment. But I guess like there wasn't Netflix or anything, so
No.
people had more.
People memorize stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Why? Weird. Just watch Jane the Virgin. Anyway. One last question before we get into this. Do you believe in God?
I do.
Okay, cool. Are you guys ready to read the Bible? No further questions.
Is it okay if I hold this?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Do
thank
whatever is
you.
most comfortable for you. So, just to give you some context, up until this point, there's all that stuff that happens in Genesis. The Hebrews end up in Egypt. Then they leave Egypt, and they go into the desert to receive the law. They receive the law in the middle of Exodus, and since that point until now, it's just the law. It's just God talking and stuff. There's the golden calf, but it's just been God talking for a while. Right now, he's talking about how to do the sacrifices, and he's been talking about that for quite some time. God doesn't know how to shut up. Anyway, this is Torah, a loose translation, Book 3, Leviticus, Episode 2, Command. This is chapter 13, in which Aharon, or Aaron, has to take out the trash. Leviticus 6:1 to 6:6.
Command all of this to Aaron and his sons. Jehovah said to Moshe, first, the law of Olah. The Olah sits in the firewood on the altar all night so it can fuel the fire. The Kohen should put his linen clothes on, including the pants he wears over his man-meat, and dump the ashes. Hot. Okay. Then he'll take off those clothes and put on different ones to take the ashes out of the camp to the clean place.
His work clothes. The Olah, by the way, is the fire offering that gets completely burnt up. And the linen clothes are beautiful. Trust me, you missed it. If you missed it, go catch up because they're amazing.
The fire on the altar should be lit constantly. Every single morning, the Kohen should set fire to the wood to smoke up the peace offering fat. There should always be a fire burning on the altar. It must not go out.
Or else. That's chapter 13.
Yeah.
This is chapter 14, in which we go over some more rules. Leviticus 6:7 to 6:11. Double-sided.
Oh, sorry. Thank you very
Saving
much.
paper here.
Okay. There are the meal offering rules. Aaron's sons will bring it to Jehovah in front of the altar. He'll take a handful of the meal offering, wheat, some of the oil, and all the frankincense. Then he'll
Some
smoke
good
it.
bacon.
Then he'll smoke it on the altar and make a nice smell as a remembrance to Jehovah. Aaron and his sons will eat the leftover matzah in the holy place in the courtyard of the tent of witnessing. They cannot bake leavened bread.
No, of course not.
I've given them a portion of the fire offering, like I did with the sin offering and the guilt offering. It's the holiest of holies. All of Aaron's sons will eat it. This is a decree for generations forever from Jehovah's fire offerings. Anything that touches it will become holy.
I like that the holiest thing are the butchers, basically. That's chapter 14. We're flying through this. Chapter 15, in which there is another recipe. Leviticus 6:12 to 6:16. As you can see, I kind of stopped really caring much about where I made my chapter divisions.
Aaron and his sons will bring the offering I'm about to describe to Jehovah on the day you anoint him.
Ooh, okay, so this is an exciting, different offering.
Jehovah said to Moshe.
Get excited.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Jehovah is God, if you haven't figured that out.
Take 1/10 an ephah of meal offering wheat.
An ephah being an ancient measurement that we don't know what it is anymore.
Half of it in the morning and half in the evening. Forever. That's a long time.
Yeah, that's if you missed your ephah today, forget about it.
Fry it in an oiled pan until crispy.
So one of the fun things about the Bible is how often there are words that are translated a million different ways. That makes it really easy to follow all the rules to the letter, right? So crispy can be interpreted as fried. That's how Targum Yonatan translates it. Prepared quickly. That's the Ibn Ezra. Soft. That's the Rashbam. Very different from crispy. Well mixed or broken up. That's the Ibn Janach, who has two versions of it. Well kneaded, that's the Septuagint, which is another Greek version of the Bible, or soaked. Thank you so much, all of these rabbis. If the Messiah comes and we do return to these sacrifices, we are going to be so screwed. I hope the Messiah remembers.
They all sound delicious except for soaked. That sounds kind of gross.
Yes, exactly. Soaked in oil. You got to do that napkin trick like at a pizza place.
Break it into pieces.
It's being explained.
Break it into pieces as a meal offering. It'll make a nice smell for Jehovah.
Jehovah loves smelling stuff.
The Kohen anointed to succeed Aaron will make it in the future. They're planning. That's good. This is an eternal decree to Jehovah. It all must be burned. Every meal offering from a Kohen, most of it must be burnt and not eaten.
Okay, sure. That's chapter 15. Yay! Chapter 16, in which there's another offering. Leviticus 6:17 to 6:23.
Tell Aaron and his sons about the law of the sin offering, Jehovah said to Moshe.
If you can remember them.
Slaughter the sin offering before Jehovah in the same place you slaughter the Olah. I call it the Holy of Holies.
Don't you?
The Kohen who slaughtered it can eat it in the holy place in the courtyard of the tent of witnessing.
You can tell where the holy place is because it's covered in blood.
Anything that touches the flesh becomes holy. If its blood stains any clothing, clean it in a holy place.
You know, the laundromat with the good machines down on 31st Street. Topical, local humor.
You must break any earthenware vessel it was soaked in. If it was in a copper vessel, it must be boiled and rinsed with water.
But we're getting a little off track here. Back to the eating.
Any male Kohen can eat it. It is a holy of holies. Any sin offering whose blood is brought into the tent of witnessing, the holy cannot be eaten. It must be burned in fire.
That's chapter 16. Chapter 17, in which we learn about shame. Leviticus 7:1 to 7:10.
Awesome.
10 whole verses.
Shame's great. Okay.
Shame is wonderful.
This is
What happens when you bring shame on you? Let's find out.
This is the rule of the shame offering. It is holy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Slaughter the shame offering in the same place you slaughter the olah. Throw its blood all over the altar.
All over it. No shame.
Offer all its fat, the fat tail, and the flat that covers its innards. The 2 kidneys, they're near the loins.
Of course.
The fat on them, and the lobe that's on the liver on the kidneys. They must all be taken out. The Kohen will smoke it up on the altar to Jehovah. It's a guilt offering. Every boy Kohen will eat it in the holy place. It's so holy.
So holy.
The guilt offering has the same rules as the sin offering. It'll belong to the Kohen who atones with it.
You know, I feel like this text belongs to a culture that's very dissimilar from ours, but we can go. I don't know why.
The Kohen who brings someone's olah also gets to keep its skin.
Weird.
Great prize.
Yeah. Mom, Dad!
The Kohen who brings any meal offering baked in an oven, made in a pan, or cooked on a griddle gets to keep the leftovers.
Oh, yeah.
That's
not
awesome.
bad. Yeah. It's a lot of leftovers in the Bible. You know where your mother gets it from.
Yeah. Aaron's sons can keep any meal offering, whether dry or muddled with oil.
That's chapter 17. Chapter 18, in which Jehovah teaches us about peace offerings. Leviticus 7:11 to 7:21. 7:11.
These are the rules of the peace offering you'll bring to Jehovah. If you bring one for thanks, it should be brought with loaves of matzah mixed with oil, fat matzahs soaked with oil, and loaves of mixed oil with boiled flour.
That's not a thing, is it?
I love to boil my flour.
Mm-hmm.
Bring the thank you peace offering on loaves of unleavened bread. Also, bring one of each kind of sacrifice as a tribute to Jehovah.
This is getting expensive.
The Kohen who throws the peace offering blood gets to keep it.
The blood, yay! One guy gets the blood and one guy gets the skin, and they are so jealous of each other.
He'll eat the meat of the thank you peace offering on the day it's given. He won't leave anything for morning.
God forbid.
If he's offering the sacrifice as a vow or pledge, it must be eaten the same day it's brought. Whatever's left the day after can be eaten. On the 3rd day, all the leftovers must be burnt.
That's what they do with my office fridge once a month.
If he eats any of the meat on the 3rd day, it is not accepted. It is gross, and the soul that ate it will carry his shame.
And start another cycle of sacrifices. Oh my God, it doesn't stop. What I like about this is that it kind of assumes that we know why anybody would ever bring any of these sacrifices, but that doesn't get explained until much, much later because the Bible is terrible at organization.
Any meat that touches something yucky cannot be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
That just sounds like good common sense, though, also.
Yeah.
It must be burnt in fire.
That's going a little bit too far. But
anyone pure can eat the meat. If someone yucky eats the peace offering meat reserved for
like
Jehovah,
they have a boil or something.
His soul is cut off from his nation.
Yeah.
Wow. If a soul touches any kind of yuckiness, a yucky person, animal, or gross yucky thing, and then ate meat from the peace offering to Jehovah, his soul is cut off from his nation.
Yeah. You can't bring any sacrifices for that. That's chapter 18. Woo! Chapter 19, in which God tries to keep folks skinny. Leviticus 7:22 to 7:25.
Go tell the sons of Yisrael, Jehovah said to Moshe.
After you finish the rest of Leviticus, though.
Don't eat the fat of the ox, sheep, or goat. You can use the fat from something that got torn apart or died on its own, but you can't eat it. Anyone who eats the fat of an animal that's been offered by fire to Jehovah will have his soul cut off from his nation.
That's, you heard that, fatzos? Your soul's cut off. I thought there was more to that sentence. I'm sorry. That's chapter 19, in which I space out. Chapter 20, in which Jehovah freaks out about blood, 7:26 to 7:27.
Wherever you live, don't eat any animal or bird blood. The soul of anyone who eats blood is cut off from his nation.
God hates blood. That's chapter 20. Chapter 21, in which we finish up these offerings. We're going to move on to something else. Thank God. Leviticus 7:28 to 7:38.
Tell the sons of Yisrael, Yehovah said to Moshe, anyone who brings a peace offering to Yehovah must bring Yehovah's fire offering and the fat on the breast with his own hands, so the breast can be waved as a waving before Yehovah.
That was a thing that they did. They would just wave breasts of animals around. It was very holy.
The Kohen.
But you don't see that at the meat market anymore. No.
The Kohen.
Maybe at halal, whatever.
Yeah. Like when I hear about breast waving, I think of something very different. You
Yeah.
know? So.
No, I know. I guess you do see that at the meat market.
Okay.
Meat market? What am I saying?
The Kohen will smoke up the fat on the altar. Aaron and his sons will keep the breast.
Mm-hmm.
The right thigh will be given as a tribute to the Kohen. The son of Aaron who brings the blood and the fat of the peace offerings gets to keep the right thigh. Here's an eternal decree for you suckers. I've taken the waving breast and the tribute thigh from the sons of Yisrael as peace offerings and given them to Aaron, the Kohen, and his sons.
We got that. Thank you.
And that is the anointment of Aaron and his sons from the fire offerings of Yehovah on the day they're brought to Yehovah's Kohen. It is an eternal decree for generations. Those were the rules of the Olah, the meat offering, the shame offering, the consecration offering, and the peace offering that Yehovah commanded Moshe at Mount Sinai on the day he commanded the sons of Israel to bring their offerings to Yehovah in the desert of Sinai.
That's chapter 21. Yeah, chapter 22, in which it's Coronation Day. Leviticus 8:1 to 8:36.
Take Aaron, his sons, the clothes, the anointing oil, the sin offering bowl, the 2 rams, the basket of matzahs, and the whole phalanx of the nation to entrance to the tent of witnessing, Yehovah said to Moshe.
Use a wheelbarrow if you have to.
Moshe gathered everyone at the entrance to the tent of witnessing. This is what Yehovah has commanded me to do.
So please don't blame me for what's about to happen, because it's weird.
Moshe brought Aaron and his sons forward and cleaned them with water. Moshe put the shirt on his brother, girded them with the girdle, dressed him with the robe, put the vest on him, and tightened it with the strap.
Remember, Aaron is like 100 now, so I guess he needs somebody to dress him.
He put the breastplate on him and put the Urim and Tumim on the breastplate. He put the turban on his head and put the golden plate on the front of the turban. Finally, Moshe put the holy tiara on top.
The holy tiara.
Just like Yehovah commanded Moshe.
My favorite part.
Moshe took the anointing oil and anointed the sanctuary and everything in it, making it all holy. He sprinkled some of it on the altar 7 times and anointed the altar, all its tools, the sink, and its base, making them holy. He poured the anointing oil on Aaron's head and anointed him to holiness.
Mm-hmm. So when your stove is covered in oil, when you let it get caked on for a while, when you don't clean it, and like people start to get pissed off and grossed out, it's not gross. It's holy. You've anointed it.
Also, it sounds like Aaron's getting like lubed up. You know?
It's getting
good.
ready to slide into God.
Oh no, okay.
Have you got any grease?
Okay, I got it. Okay. Moshe brought Aaron's sons close and dressed them in shirts, girded them with girdles, and tied hats to their heads, just like Yehovah commanded Moshe.
It happened, I remember.
He approached the bull for the sin offering. Aaron and his sons put their hands on its head. It was slaughtered. Moshe took the blood and with his finger put it on the horns of the altar, all around, cleaning the altar.
That's the opposite of cleaning, but okay.
He poured the blood on the base of the altar, making it holy, and the anointment ready.
Oh, yeah.
He took the fat on its innards, the lobe on the liver, the 2 kidneys and their fat, and Moshe smoked it up on the altar. The bull, its skin, its meat, and its shit were burnt in fire outside the camp, just like Yehovah commanded Moshe. Aaron brought the ram for the Olah.
Maybe. In the original Hebrew, the pronoun here is mysterious, because that's the way God works. And right.
Aaron and his sons put their hands on its head. It was slaughtered.
Can you imagine these animals, like, they've got these hands on their head, they think, like, something holy is happening, they're I don't know.
Moshe threw its blood all around the altar. The ram was cut into pieces. Moshe smoked up its head, its pieces, and the fats. He cleaned the innards and the legs in water. Moshe smoked up the entire ram on the altar. It was an olah and made a nice smell for Yehovah, just like Yehovah commanded Moshe.
Mm-hmm.
I love how it's just like, you know, you can't see God, so you just like assume that there's gonna be like the smoke goes up and you can smell it.
And he
you know?
smells it. Yeah, it makes a nice smell for Jehovah.
It's nice to burn some incense, you know.
Exactly.
Okay. The brought the second ram, the consecration ram. Aaron and his sons put their hands on it. He slaughtered it.
He, who knows who he is, but doesn't matter. It's just the Bible.
Moshe took the blood and put it on Aaron's right ear, his right thumb, and the big toe of his right foot.
No, come on.
Moshe threw
That's
the blood.
just silly.
Moshe threw the blood all around the altar. He took the ram's fat, its fat tail, all the fat on its innards, the lobe of the liver, the 2 kidneys, the fat on them, and the right thigh.
Just like we read in the last chapter.
He took a loaf of matzo, a loaf of oil bread, and a wafer from the basket of matzos that was in front of Jehovah and put them on the fat of the right thigh. He put it all on Aaron's and his son's hands. He waved them as a waving before Jehovah.
Didn't everyone... screw it. It's a bad joke. Keep going. It's so bad.
Moshe took it all from their hands and smoked them up on the Olah altar. They made a nice-smelling consecration fire offering to Jehovah. Moshe took the breasts from the consecration ram and waved a waving before Jehovah. That was his piece of the ram, just like Jehovah commanded Moshe. Moshe sprinkled some of the anointing oil and the blood on Aaron, his sons, and their clothing, making them and their clothes holy.
Mm-hmm. Oil mixed with blood just comes right out in the wash, right?
Cook the meat near the opening of the tent of witnessing, Moshe said to Aaron and his sons, and eat it there with the bread in the consecration basket like I commanded, when I said, Aaron and his sons will eat it.
Eat something, I command you. Your skin and bones. And like some blood on you?
Burn the leftovers. Don't leave the opening of the tent of witnessing until the days of consecration are finished. That's 7 days. You will fill your hands for 7 days. Jehovah commanded everything that's happened today so that you can atone. Stay by the opening to the tent of witnessing day and night for 7 days. Guard over Jehovah's watch. Don't die.
Good advice.
That's
for
what
anyone,
I have been
really.
commanded. Aaron and his sons did all the things Jehovah commanded by Moshe's hands.
That's chapter, let's say, 22. Chapter 22. That's it. That's the entire Parsha. That's command. That's thank you, Rachel. Yeah. What a weird one. Yeah.
I like all the blood.
I like the blood.
Make like a good HBO series.
The blood
you know?
is good.
Yeah.
The blood, you wonder why they don't dramatize this book by book. I think there's some stuff to skip.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be like the weirdest movie or something that was just like, it's just like an art film, a bunch of guys killing some rams, rolling around in blood.
My feeling is Leviticus is kind of like if, you have season 1 of The Wire and it's great, and season 2 of The Wire is even better, and then season 3 of The Wire is just David Simon reading the Baltimore Penal Code for like 12 hours. Just like, why? And HBO like, this is great, one more season, let's keep going. What? Now is the part of the show where we have our Devar Torah. Devar Torah in Hebrew literally translates to Torah word. So I'd like to ask you, Rachel, if you can sum up everything that you've read into a single word.
Okay. Can I just say bloody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, you steal my word.
That's what you were gonna say?
Yeah, mine was blood.
Well, you can be oily,
Yes, bloody and oily.
Yeah. I just love the combination.
Yeah, blood and oil are great. It sounds like the name of a show about oil barons.
Was this
that are a family?
Do you think this oil
It totally was a show, yes.
Do you think that this oil was like olive? Like, what kind of oil is this oil?
I'm pretty sure it's Evu.
Evu.
Extra virgin olive oil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or actually no, I think it's pure pressed olive oil, which I acronymized as PPOO.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the stuff that's like $35 a bottle at Whole
exactly.
Foods. Yeah.
This is some holy oil. This is what they did, I guess. I mean, this was not out of the ordinary for like some desert tribe at this time. Like, that's just what you did, and they were special because they didn't sacrifice people.
Yeah. Just those rams, just all their. Where do they find all these rams? Do they have like rams around a lot?
I would imagine. I mean, so like you kind of have this idea of like the popular idea is, you know, there are a bunch of Israelites wandering around the desert for 40 years, but you have to remember, like, there's a census that's taken. There are 600,000 men between the ages of 18 and 60, which means there've got to be like 1.5 million people. So this is a massive, massive crew, and they've brought animals to sustain themselves. Like, this was a camp. Like, this was a massive camp in the desert that was set up, and they were probably just like herders had sheep near the temple or the tent of witnessing, the Ohel Moed, and they used them for sacrifices.
Yeah, like, sorry, God needs this one.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, and I like
you brought
how
shame on the family. We got to get rid of it.
I really like how it's so specific about how, like, and only men.
Yes.
Yeah, many times the men will do this.
Well, that's who wrote it.
Because the women are just always full of shame, right? Like, just like by existing, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we will get to all the other stuff that they're full of.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So the word yucky is what we at Oh My God, What the Fuck Bible have decided to use as the translation for the word that's usually translated as impure. And I'll get more deep into it when we get to, like, it's used to describe menstruation.
Which is always gross. We can all agree.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. You know, and they were they didn't know what the hell was going on, and they were like, "This is yucky. I don't want to deal with it." But I really I don't know, the whole like pure impure thing. I feel like takes it to another place. So that's why I've been using yucky in this. Excuse me. That's why I've been using yucky in this. My word is blood too, because I just feel like, you know, it keeps talking about how holy this stuff is, which again, why the pure impure thing is a little weird. God hates blood, but you have to imagine, like, there was probably bile and blood everywhere. Like, this was a gross, gross place, but it was totally normal. That's what people were gross. I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're very removed from how disgusting killing animals is, and then we just eat them. But in a way, like, this, you know, the Kohens, the priests, they were the ones who sacrificed the animals, and they get to keep part of it, and they get the rest to God. Like, they were there. They slaughtered the animals and ate them themselves. So it's really gross, but also, for some reason, to me, kind of not gross. Like, it kind of makes sense. But I don't know. Is there any other thoughts that you have about this parsha or this section of the Bible?
I mean, it's one of those things where you wonder how a lot of parts of Leviticus people still practice, you know?
Yes. Do they practice that?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
At other people.
Yeah. Do you keep kosher?
In my own way, yes.
Okay. So that's like kosher light, kind of?
I suppose so.
Okay. I tried before, but I just, you know, I grew up on bacon, and it's really hard. It's really hard. Pepperoni, you know.
Yeah.
I have tried it. I've never
tough.
lasted more than like 3 days, I think, whenever I've tried to go kosher.
Yeah. That's you know, that's pretty explicitly, because I have my own, and that's next month's reading. I have my own kind of way of understanding what the laws are, because what kosher is now is kind of, you know, thousands of years of interpretation of what the rules actually are. But you definitely can't eat pig.
Yeah. But there's like, you know, you think about, people bring up Leviticus. It's interesting reading this, like, when, you know, especially we got all these the election coming up and everything, you know, like the Bible thumpers, you know, or whatever, bring up Leviticus, you know, as ways to be like, you know, so people say, oh, the Bible's against X, Y, and Z, and then you're just like, just read them this and be like, okay, so you're gonna do all this shit now?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And I think that people need to. I feel like people should read Leviticus more so they realize how weird the Bible is.
Yeah.
So they like realize why, and that's like one thing I love about the Bible, how it's just like we should change the interpretation because we are not like bringing a ram with us to temple on.
No.
You know?
I mean, not in New York usually. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, there's that thing on the West Wing where he's like, okay, President Bartlett's talking to some conservative who's yelling at him about gay marriage, and he's like, all right, so what do you think would be a good price if I'm going to sell my daughter into slavery? And, you know, if she doesn't sleep with her owner, you know, what do you think? Should she be let go or not? I mean, it's the same thing with this stuff. Like, it's the stuff, and I'll probably repeat this in every Leviticus episode because it gets me so upset, but the stuff that people are basing, like, a lot of like literal laws on is like 2 verses. And this stuff is a lot more, but you don't see anybody clamoring for like a return to animal sacrifice or like, you know, your matzahs have more than an ephah of oil in them. What the hell are you doing? We have to outlaw this. Or even, you know, more seriously, the Bible is very explicit that blood cannot be eaten. Like, God repeats, like, blood is terrible. Don't eat it. I hate it. It's the lifeblood. It's very important that you don't eat blood. Nobody cares about that. That's not a thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. I think that people, should read this more, and so they stop being so weird about other stuff, you know. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my thing. I kind of feel like this is a massive corpus of words and literature, and we can take from it what we decide to take from it, and certain people decide to take certain things, and many people have decided to just pretty much completely ignore the sections that we're reading right now. And I think it's fairly obvious when you're reading it that people are just ignoring it for whatever reason they've decided to, because the temple is gone. Sure, but you're still ignoring it, and you're still acting as though it's not there. So I feel like you can focus on what you want to focus on, which is why I like reinterpreting it, because I'm trying to focus on what I think is important in it. And anybody can do that. Religion tells you what to focus on. I'm not so sure I want to. Anyway, when we're done talking here, we're all going to have a little bit of a conversation with the time that we have left. We're going to open this up for a Q&A that you can ask me any questions, and Rachel, if
Oh, sure, yeah.
we'll bring the house lights up a little bit. And also, I want to hear what your thoughts are on what we read, what in the hell it's doing in the Bible, whether it belongs there or not, whether you think the Bible is just a silly book anyway, and who cares. Anyway, is there any last things that you want to say?
I've had a really great time.
Cool.
And now that you shamed me earlier, I'm going to, do my shame offering and then read the whole Bible.
Yes.
You
can, I would not be offended, or I would be offended if you didn't wait for me to translate the whole thing, because you can sit and
Oh,
wait.
yeah.
Yeah, I would like people to eventually read my whole Bible when I'm done, but
awesome.
We'll see. That'll take like 30 years. Anyway, is there anything that you want to plug, anywhere people can check you out?
I'm doing a great show in Park Slope on. You know what? I did not look at the date, but you guys can find me on Facebook, and I'll tell you there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really fun. It's down. It's at the Pacific Standard Bar, and it's gonna be a great show. That's gonna be really fun. It's on February 17th, I want to say, but double check with me.
Yes.
But thank you. And also I'm often at the Creek in the Cave, and if anyone
also in Queens, very important.
Creek in the Cave is the best, and if anyone, I host an open mic there at 4 p.m. on Saturdays, and it's very fun if you want to try to get up on stage, so please come by.
That's awesome. You can find the podcast as always, on Facebook, at Twitter, at OMGWTFBIBLE. Do we still have to say that? People know how Twitter works, right? Anyway, on Tumblr, there's a website, there's an Instagram. I'll probably post a picture tonight. So that's in the past if you're listening online. Listen on Stitcher, iTunes, podcast apps. Please share the show if you like it. If you don't share anything. You're a terrible person. Please rate and review it on iTunes. It really, really helps, especially if you like it. If you don't like it, again, I hate you forever. The next show is going to be February. The show after is going to be March 29th, right here in this room, which is really awesome. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank Lauren and Cambry here at QED. Thank you so much for helping me put this up. I want to thank John for recording it. I want to thank Wendy Chin for making the marketing materials, as always. Rachel, Coleman, thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much. This is great.
I want to thank you guys for being here, for coming all the way down the block and checking the show out. Thank you. And, of course, everybody for listening. Make sure to listen or to show up February 8th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, because next time in the Bible...
Kosher.
Yeah.